whispers in the wind. Can't you see the flowers wilting? Don't make me say.
Hello. How the devil are you? Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I thought I would bring some, hope. Um, it's going to be a short one because I've got too much to do. But Islam is the greatest threat to all of us. Like we have, and we still have, we have had, and we still have the threat posed by transgenderism and the array, but all of that feels like a warming up to the real danger that's coming. Because eventually, what the whole trans nonsense would do is it will peter out and it will become quite fringe, I think. I mean, it won't do that without us. And, there's some big voices in this space, and without many of them, nothing would have got achieved. But men would never have had it, right? It's the trans movement was getting so big that most people were getting really fed up with it. In fact, even amongst some sort of more, I don't want to say progressive because I don't think they are, but I'm using it as a pejorative. But even in amongst that cohort, there are people that are just getting pig sick of it. And so it's just not going to last. But at the same time, the people that are hanging on very, very tight. Let me tell you how this is going to be resolved. Right. This is what I think. I think we are going to need to really attack one or two institutions and bring them to their knees. That's what I think. I think it's going to take a really huge court case. I think Labour are going to do whatever it is they can, what politicians always do, which is, and it's happening now, like there's a political element to this entire movement at the moment that's kind of said what we were saying maybe 10 years ago. Oh, it's not that bad. Let's just be nice. It's not that bad. There's all the women's charity sectors and the people on like vast amounts of money. Oh, what's the harm? He's my friend. What's the harm of allowing at the Nottingham Women's Centre these these brave, stunning and brave trans women? What about them? They feel so afraid. Taken great courage for them. Blah blah blah. And it's gonna take basically kicking some of those organisations into touch, suing them, so they don't exist anymore, and basically putting the fear of God into anybody still peddling this shit that we're going to sue them. In my own personal life at the moment, uh, with my son's college. So if you don't know about that, my son said dared to utter a sentence at college that didn't go along with the wokey narrative on LGBT, mostly T. We know that we're talking about T because nobody's really talking about lesbians or gays. They're talking about T. Um, and he said one thing, and that was deemed bad enough that he could get a formal written warning that was going to be permanently on his record. He now doesn't want to finish his year at college. I've just had a meeting with Safeguarding this morning, and suggested that I'm going to recommend I come and talk to all of the staff about what the dangers are and about how they've been misinformed and really what happens, and what is happening to this generation as a whole. So, this particular online generation, whatever you think about the online safety, I think there's some issues with adults, but also I think I don't know. Maybe we ought to. Maybe it's a child safeguarding thing where if you let your child, maybe you have to make it unlawful, um, but not register. Like maybe we have to do something where we don't threaten the liberty of adults at the same time as threatening the complete mental safety of children, um, with preventing them from being online. But anyway, that's an issue for another day when I've got something really coherent to say about it. Um, anyway, so I had a thing with safeguarding where we talked about the fundamentals here and about the mental I hate the mental health. How else can I say it? Kind of the fragility of this current sort of lot of under 25s and maybe a bit older than that. Um, so anyway, we know that we're gonna have a million little battles, and you can't leave it to organizations. You just can't. You're gonna have the battles. You're gonna have to talk to your kids' school and threaten them. I mean, essentially, that's what you're gonna have to do. Why don't you pretend, if you still haven't talked to your school, that your children were going in every day and being told that the KKK were stunning and brave, and how we should all adhere to every single whim that the KKK have? How about you just pretend it's really, really serious? Because I think essentially, even people on our side of the debate don't quite understand how serious it is, which is why they don't go and fight things and they kind of leave it to someone else. Well, leaving it to someone else means that nothing ever gets done. Um, However, my interactions with Muslims defending the grooming and rape of a 6-year-old who was raped when she was 9 and she was sexually molested when she was 6. And the lies that they told about how they justify that, or the other lie is that they pretend it doesn't happen. I just want you, I just want you to remember that every single Muslim tells one of those lies. Either that Aisha was 6 and it was perfectly fine, or there is some way of kind of retroactively pretending that Aisha wasn't 6. And most of the Muslims that you will encounter will give you a reason why it's okay that she was 6 and that actually Muhammad was a benevolent, dirty old man, a benevolent old man that did it for her safety because he did it out of kindness. And they will use the Peter Tatchell like paedophile rape apologism, which is it's not harmful. Now, pedophiles use that rationale for being able to rape children, that it's not really actually harmful. And grooming ensures that children lose their capacity to see how harmful it is. But what you have to remember, like when I was talking to that man at Speaker's Corner and he was justifying the rape of a 9-year-old, is that he's not like the only person that thinks like that. Let me just show you a tiny little clip of something on Twitter. And I'm on the man's side. So there are those of us that see the danger of Islam, and then there are the rest of you. So let me just show you a little bit of this geezer.
Well, the UK is going straight to hell. It's It's going to be an Islamic state within 50 years. It's going to be a caliphate, and those crazy Muslims are going to put a burqa on your head.
So I'm with him, and many people genuinely think that we are the same as Muslims. I just want to remind you, I don't mean every Muslim. I just mean the ones that will be shaping this country and culture are not going to be the nice ones. And the nice ones are also going to do as they're told. Now, they might be a victim of Islam just as much as everybody else, but the when what it takes is about 10% of a country in order to identify as Muslim, identifies Muslim in order to flip this country into something unrecognizable. It's not like you haven't got lots of other countries to look at. And why does anybody want to come here who wants to be Muslim? Well, because we have a great country, very generous. In my view, I don't think we should be generous. I think if you don't work, if you're not working but you can work, and your husband or wife or whoever can't support you, I think it should be really, really difficult to get by. That's what I think. I think you should live a life of poverty. And if you bring children into that, it's very, very horrible for those children to be brought into a situation where their family are going to be poor. But you're going to have to fix this somehow. So anyway, so those of you that think it's never going to happen because Muslims aren't really like that in this country, it's not going to happen. You're the woman in the vest.
They're going to oppress you and they're going to beat you.
Okay.
And you want more of them because you love open borders immigration. So all the Muslims will come in and then they will create Islamic Sharia law in the UK.
Okay.
At the moment, they're trying to build a mosque, or they are building a mosque up somewhere up north, Barrow-in-Furness, or however you say it. And they're building a super mosque. Now, are there loads of Muslims in that area? No. Will there be? Yes. Yes, there will. You know, if you build it, they will come. There's a massive, I think they're expecting like hundreds or thousands upon thousands. I don't want to exaggerate, but I thought I read 150,000, but I might be exaggerating. But they're expecting like 150,000 people to go to this village where there's 1,500 people living to have like an Islamic gathering festival. So this is like, these things don't happen by accident. We haven't got a Muslim mayor who's putting up Ramadan lights and having the biggest like fucking Eid prayer in London, open air. That's not an accident. That's not an accident. These are flexes. These are domination. This is trying to tell you people what's coming. These are warnings and you're not heeding. In Wales, 5 times a day, people hear the call for prayer in some places in Wales, in some places in Birmingham. Like, Muslims, I'm sure they were Muslim. They moved somewhere where they could hear church bells, and they got those church bells stopped. Now, again, I'm not blaming every Muslim. I'm just saying that the combination of some Muslims making demands of this country to suit them and their religious cult behavior and mentality, we are bending to that because we have this idea that peace, fair, and justice, and tolerance, well, not even tolerance, just fairness. We have this funny idea that is the same set of principles for all different people that come to this country, and it's not true.
You want that? You want Islamic law?
We'll see what happens, won't we?
So you're so against...
It might be good. It might be great. We'll see.
Oh, it might be great.
Guess I'll find out.
Sharia law? Taliban-style Sharia law where women are covered head to toe and beaten?
Brilliant. I bet you believe in that shit anyway, so...
No, but you agree that Sharia law is bad for women?
Oh, yeah, of course.
They're actual, like, slaves, right?
Mm-hmm.
So why would you want more of that in the UK? Your rights are going to be taken away.
Not all people from that country believe in that.
Like, real Muslims believe in Sharia law.
Okay. But not all of them
It's what the
are
Quran...
that extreme.
The Quran implores them to implement Sharia law when they have the power to do so.
Okay.
So when they become a majority, I guarantee you they're going to start advocating for Sharia law.
Brilliant.
Right. So that's what we're talking about. I'm not like, nobody's saying that this is going to happen next week. We're saying that if you are a good Muslim, right? Imagine you believe in God and 5 times a day and you're reciting the Quran all the time, like throughout your childhood when everyone else is playing, when our children are playing and our children are like getting mindless on games, and when our children are doing that, their children every single night, they're reciting the Quran. They're saying it over and over. This is programming. This is how it works. They're saying it over and over and over. And part of that over and over and over is that they genuinely believe that everybody would be better off under Sharia law. Otherwise, what's the point in being? Of course they believe that. Like, Christians believe it as well. But Christianity, certainly in this century, doesn't really have a history over the last 50 years of going places and killing people unless they convert to Christianity. I mean, I don't know that this ever happened. Maybe early church, but that's not happening. But we have too many examples of that happening where country with a certain number of Muslims then become slave to Sharia. That's it's like it's not even like they don't even think it's a bad thing. They think it's a great thing. If you're a Muslim that believes that the Prophet Muhammad is a perfect man and that things in the Quran are genuinely the final word of God, of course you want that. Of course you want the whole country to be Sharia. You want every single woman to be, and man and child to be converted to Islam. Of course you do. Of course you do, because you believe, or you're told that you believe that loving your fellow man would want that. You know, it's not even necessarily that you think that because you want to persecute someone and you want to, it's not about that. It's not saying I hate these people, they must convert or die. They think that in order to force you to convert, they'll do anything. It's like it's the same as when I meet when I talk to people about pro-life, pro-choice. And people are like, oh, people that are pro-life, they just hate women. No, they genuinely believe that that is God's gift to a woman, that she is going to have a baby. And that is God's child and creation from the minute that it's conceived. So, of course, they think that you shouldn't abort a baby or terminate a pregnancy. Of course, they think that. That's like, it would be insane to believe that that is a gift from God, but also you can destroy it. So, it would be utter madness to think that you can raise somebody as a Muslim and they can be raised to think that Sharia is good, that it's a final word of God, that Muhammad was a perfect man, that they wouldn't also try to justify child marriage, the rape of a 9-year-old. Of course they would. They have to. That's one of the things that they have to sort of overcome when they're trying to convince other people to convert. Like, so anyway, I just want you to be really, really sure before you just dismiss anti-Muslim, anti-Islamic rhetoric as kind of racist or bad. I want you to really, really think about finding an example of a country where there is a majority Muslim population, or even like more than 20% Muslim population, that doesn't have some really frightening things happening. And I think they say that between 10 and 16% is about the tipping point for when a country just tips into, these people make demands that they are well organized. And not all Islamic colonization has happened through killings and murders and wars. Some of them have just, they've just moved, and it's just gradual encroachment. My children went to a normal secular school, 2 of my children, and halal was on the menu twice a week. How many Muslims were in that school? Well, out of it might have been 2 classes per year group from reception to year 6. There might have been 5 Muslims in that entire school, and yet halal was on the menu twice a week. So, anyway, this is why I am speaking at Unite the Kingdom. This is why you should be thinking about it. If you've ever cared about anything at all, you should be coming. Like, it's not, this is not a, it's never going to happen. This is a when it will happen. When will Islam finally take over this incredible country with its wonderful history? Look, I can't do these things without your support. Let me just tell anyone that's kind of had oh, I can't believe you're speaking. I've never cared about what other people think when I've done things. I've done many things that have made me very unpopular, and I do those things because I have to live with me. My actions directly impact me, and I'm not going to do anything. I can't stand it. It pained me that I couldn't speak on this issue for years when the whole trans thing was the most alive, and that was because I had to have a single issue campaign. Well, now I don't have to have a single issue campaign. I mean, my single issue, I guess, is women and girls. But I love this country very much. And I feel like the great things about this country and who we are as people is being used against us so that we will just roll over and take it. And I think it's about time you woke up. So anyway, if you can recognize that the only possible thing you can do about the threat of a caliphate is not passive, but it's action. It is go on the offense. It is to speak. Then I promise we will win. If you can be, just don't care what other people say about stuff. Just do what you need to do. And if we all do that, I promise we will win. And do you know why else we're going to win? Well, because I never lose.
They say convert, pay up or die, and they look you in the eye, knowing you believe the lie that inclusion was everybody's friend, when the truth now we all know that was the beginning of the end. You didn't fight back, you failed to resist, and now the country is under their fist. No sun, no fun, no sky. All the music now must die. No more thinking thoughts, Sharia council, schools and courts. Welcome to Britain under the brand new caliphate. You're no longer free. Cover your face, your hair, your feet. You're now enslaved in a British caliphate. Don't you love the British caliphate? Have one wife, 3 or 4, when they're knocking on your door, asking if you're reciting the Quran, telling you you're gay and stoning you today. No matter if you're a woman or a man, you didn't say no, you failed so it seems, and now you are under the Islamic regime. No laugh, no dance, no art. Kill animals through their heart. No more thinking thoughts, Sharia council, schools and courts. Welcome to Britain under the brand new caliphate. You're no longer free. Cover your face, your hair, your feet. You're now enslaved in a British caliphate. Don't you love the British caliphate? They steal your daughter for their wife and imprison her for life, saying she's old enough at 9. They will exterminate your dog, a scorpion to your frog. Don't complain, just keep saying you are fine. It's far too late, you're way out of time. About 10 years ago, that was the line. No Christian or infidel, the whole place feels like hell. No more thinking thoughts, Sharia council, schools and courts. Welcome to Britain under the brand new caliphate. You're no longer free. Cover your face, your hair, your feet. You're now enslaved in a British caliphate. Don't you love the British caliphate? From the cities to the towns, hear the horrendous call to prayer. Getting elected into power every minute, every hour. By next week, a Muslim will be your mayor. No more thinking thoughts, Sharia council, schools and courts. Welcome to Britain under the brand new caliphate. You're no longer free. Cover your face, your hair, your feet. You're now enslaved.